yeah? No. Good lad, well done, mate. So let's just set off there because jumping forward because that bit of gravel that horse was standing on, you know, just makes them jump up a bit. So we want them, you know, we've got to get to the stage where they can drain the sheets of metal and like that. But I've got their head carriages better than they were. Not that their head carriage was anything wrong, but one was high and one was low. But we've managed to level them up a bit better. And they're both soaking up on the mouth. And as I say, they've only got a bit of rubber in their mouths. So, you know, they're coming. And they ain't perfect and they've got a while to go. And we lost a bit of time in the start with the bad weather. So, you know, I'm just going to walk this one. It was a little bit funny with open drains like this one in front. So I'm going to walk them straight over it, you know, the open drain, you know, where it's coming away from. I've still got to steer him over it rather than him take no notice at all and just do it. I've got to steer him a bit. But if I take him up to a trot now, trot, trot. As I say, at the end of the day, they've only got a bit of rubber in it, they? This horse here in the red head collar bothers me. The other one I've got more or less right. If you look at the blue head collar, his ears are floppy, soft rubber ears. Can you see him flopping about? Although I'm talking, they're soft rubber ears, look. Come on, trot, trot. So you see how they move about, they're soft, they're a little bit floppy, look. Although I'm talking, I'm trying to talk and explain to you, but they're floppy. This horse don't take his ears off me, the redhead collar. Don't take his ears off me, they're back on me 90% of the time. Which tells me he's concerned about what's behind him, and that's one of the reasons that he gets hold of the bit and gets on with the job. And another reason he won't stand still and be quiet. But we've got to get him to this stage before we can drop the metal sheet, give him a load of row, big 5-gallon drum underneath the carriage, all that sort of stuff, and the speaker with all the noises on, up the pole, you know, we have a speaker that fits up the pole, and then we'll do them like that. But they're coming. What they have done, I'm not knocking anybody, I don't do that, but the old shoeing ain't all that on these horses. By that I mean on the inside of the shoe, on the hinds, he's stuck out a little bit. Now if you say to me, oh that's nothing, it's all the bleeding well when they start brushing. That's why they're wearing boots, because they brushed and knocked themselves. Well, if you tuck the shoe under a little bit, there ain't no way in the hoof is going to hurt or break flesh, you know, like break the skin. Like, oh, stand still, baby. So, you know, what I want to do, they've got to get them to stand better, and I've got to get them to stand better when I'm talking. So even if I'm out on my own, just driving them and like that, so if you notice now, see both their heads come up. I think, what we stopped here for then? What's this about then? I don't want to stand here, I want to get on. Come on, let's do something. They've got to learn to stand. Now this horse here, blue head collar, he's got his foot at rest. You can see his hips down. And the other thing is, the other thing with these horses, we've struggled to keep the weight on them. Now this red horse here with a red head collar, he's a bit nervous type, you know, good as gold in the stable, everything like that. But as soon as he loses the plot, you know, as soon as something's not quite right for him, he's watch it. Now hopefully all that will change. Now they get as much grub as they could possibly eat, right? On the scales, they've I don't know, we'll have to look at the book where you want me to see what they were, etc., and what they are now. But one of them's put on weight and the other one's maintained his weight. But they're not the fattest pair in the world, and they don't want to be. They're workhorses, that's how they should be. They don't want to be humping around a load of bleeding flat and pulling it, you know, and pulling a cart. But they're standing better, see. So this horse in a blue head collar, stand when you're told. Stand, that'll do. So they've got to stand on a slack rein. No point in standing there pulling their heads off. What's it? So they can stretch their necks, they can stand. But they don't relax when they stand. So you see their heads alert all the time around. What are we going to do? You know, oh dear, what's going to happen? You know? So I want them to stand there. I don't want them to stand there because they're knackered. Down to this water from my place is just 2 miles from the yard. So what I'm saying to them, I just want them to stand here now because I've asked them to stand here. Now, horse intends to stand for a while if he rests one of his back legs, i.e. he puts his toe down on the ground, yeah, and he drops his hip. Now, this one was doing it, bluehead collar was doing it, neither of them are doing it at the moment. So this motor will go by. What they were doing before was, the problem they had before was that as soon as the motor went, they'd follow it, you know. So they was making decisions they didn't need to make. Next thing is, I don't know how many of you, different people drive these horses. And different hands on these horses ain't a good idea. Because if you've got different hands on them, you know, they'll be like, you know, if you start pulling them a bit hard and they'll start pulling against you, once you start that tug of war, you just will give up. So that's why I stick that rubber in their mouths. When that rubber's in there, right, and they'll behave like this and I can stop them, even when they get up to a canter and I can pull them back, that will mean that when you get them home and you put, and they put a Liverpool in them, etc. like that, stand still babies, a Liverpool in them, you know, their mouths will be soft again. Make no mistake, their mouths will be soft. So, you know, what you need to do is just be light-handed on them. And I think the other thing that's happened, I'm not saying detrimental to anybody, you know, trying to help you. See, a lot of people, what they do, they pull on their mouth and then what they do is stick the brake on. That is seriously the worst thing you can do in the world, because if you stick the brake on, then what you're doing is, I mean, 99.9% of the time we're asking them to push the collar, you know, to move forward. So you're asking them to push the collar. So when they're laying their weight on the collar, of course, obviously, when you put the brake on and you add the weight to the collar, the more they bleed and push. Same as they would if they went uphill, well, they'd never go uphill, would they? So the more weight, the more they work. So, stand. Now this horse here, you see he's a nervous type. Now you'll say to me, well, how do you know? See his whole lip don't stop going. Right? He's got to do something. He'll bite that chain, he'll pick it up, he'll do. That is not a playful horse, right? This is how he gets rid of his nerves. Another horse will sweat more. Another horse will paw the ground. You know, they've got to get it out of themselves. So this is what he does. Now he's a lot better than what he was. Now I don't mind. If that's all he's ever going to do, wobble that old chain, yeah? Do you know, he's like a kid. Try and understand what I'm saying. He's like a kid. You ask a kid to sit on a stool and don't move. For some kids, they can do it. And they'll sit and listen to you, look at you, see what you're doing, and they'll sit there. Another nipper can't do it. Just cannot do it, just can't sit there. He'd want to please you. He wants to do it, but he just can't. And that's how he is. Also, this horse never goes at rest on his leg. He will do. And he's hippy, look, can you see? But he's all right, he's filled up, his ribs are covered, but he's hippy. They get a little bit uptight, he gets a little bit tucked up. You take him home, you wash him off, you give him his grub, and, you know, in an hour, his guts are dropped down and he's happy again. He'd be a warrior, you know. So what we're going to do, so you say, well, why haven't you dragged anything? Well, it won't be the time to drag it, because you'll give him more to worry about. You know, more, oh my God, what we've got to deal with now. So what we've got to do is get him more or less settled and then slowly introduce the other things so that nothing is a problem anymore. That's what we want to do, is take away all the hassle and do it. This horse here, I think we've cracked, the one with the blue head collar. He's lovely. He'll stand, a gentle touch on him and he'll just stand there. You can see now I'm not holding them, like I'd put the reins, you know, they'll stand there. So, you know, it's a marked improvement only after 2 miles, you know. Well, they just stop back there if I want them to. But see him looking and like that, that's lovely. Nice horse. Pair of them are nice horses. Good colour, you know, they've got plenty of black to them, ain't they? They're not bay. And 2 nice horses. So they're standing there quiet like that. These lads will come down here now and going to go over and wash it. So before, I see they'd have thought, right, that was their licence now to move away. God, they're done. Them boys are gone. What's it? So they're standing there on a slack rein. They're not pulling their bridles off. You know, they're reasonably happy, reasonably doing what they're told. So we're making progress. So they're doing all right. Well, see this horse here, his ears, you look at him and watch this film, his ears spend 90% of the time on me, you know? And I don't want him to. You can say, well, the other ears, because I'm talking, but, and if you look at their ears, this blue head-collared horse, his ears are more rubbery, they're not so pricked, you know, stiff, hard alert, they're not, you know, they're more rubbery, especially when we're going along, they've got a little bit of flop to them. That's what we're looking for. And mark my words, the day that red horse does that, you'll have a lovely horse there. Or as soon as he starts doing it. The other thing, you can only go as fast as they're going, but really for the time they've been here, they're doing pretty well. They've brushed their shoes behind, but that's, I was going to say them poor shoeing. That's a stupid remark. There might be a reason that they're shod like that. But if the shoe is proud of the wall of the thing on the inside at the hinds, if they do get close behind, then they will knock the skin off. When they knock the skin off, you've got another problem. I mean, what we do is wash them down with a bacterial wash every time they come in, and obviously a pressure washer, so obviously that keeps them, you know, up together in that respect. But leave them alone now, that'll do, stand still. So, hey, pack up. And then obviously we put a bit of Sudocrim on when they stand in the stalls, and they have that on when they come out underneath these brushing boots. And if you look down here, we've got two different types of brushing boots we got are there for a reason, because one sort wouldn't be no good. One sort has to be on him, you've got to have a sheepskin lining so the air can keep moving. If you just have neoprene like the other ones, he'd be red raw by the time we get back. I don't know, you know, the reason being it would get hot and sweaty and take all the scab off, well, we don't want that, do we? This one's nowhere near as bad, and we want to get them milled up before they go back to work. So we're doing the best we can, and like with all training that's intensive and out every day, you're obviously going to get a few marks and like that he's knocked his knee on the inside, and he's done it all his life, I would think, because the bone is prominent there. That's because it's had a few clouts, you know. But if the shoe was just tapped in, all we got to do is tap the bloody shoe in underneath the sole of the foot a little bit, and it'd be 10 million times better, because obviously hoof would never hurt to the same extent as it would like that, as it would if, you know, if that was just tacked back. Now you say to me, well, it's not sticking, it's sticking out. Please believe me, it's sticking out enough to be a problem. And it's exactly the same on the back here. You see the shoe, if you come down there, say if you went down there with a piece of cardboard, a piece of something, run it down the hoof, you can't go past the shoe because the shoe's sticking out. So it's like a little shelf, if you like. And that's the problem why they've marked themselves. So when you're a farrier, I'm not condemning the man, he's a farrier, I'm not. I'm not condemning him, I'm not saying he's wrong, but for me I would just ask him to tuck them back in a bit tighter so it didn't happen. Also, obviously they're doing far more miles with me than they will do with you, because it'd be out, I mean, when we first started they weren't going very far, but now, you know, they're up and doing the mileage. Right, walk, and they'll come away nice and sensible and quiet. Steady, babe, steady. They'll come away nice, sensible and quiet, you know, and they're not pulling on my hands. You know, see there, look, I can move the reins. I want them to come away quiet. So the redhead collar horse should snatch into the collar, bang, hit it every time. And you see his ears now, see how stiff they are back to me? The other thing is, they're two bloody good workhorses, aren't they? You can't knock them.
There's a smile on my face every time I hear that sound. The rhythm of the hooves as they touch the ground. And there's no better place I'd rather be than with my safe, confident horse. And there's no better place I'd rather be than with my safe, confident horse that's happy.